Here are 5 editing tips to make your first YouTube video an absolute banger.
Banger after banger after banger.
Tip numero uno, sound quality is super important. It may be even more important than your video quality because, in my opinion, people will pick up on crappy sound before they pick up on crappy video. And it's kind of easy in today's day and age to have good video quality. I mean, there's really no excuse for it. And we'll touch on that later in this video. But make sure that your video quality is up to par. Once you've imported your footage in your editing software, make sure that your voice, especially if you have a voiceover, are not going into the red areas up here, because if it's going into the red areas, it's probably way too loud.
Wow.
Also, if you do have some background music, make sure that the background music is not overpowering your video, because no one's gonna hear you. No one's gonna hear you. That is possibly the worst thing you could do. It is very annoying when I'm watching a video and someone is trying to talk and I can barely hear them over the music that is playing in the background. If it sounds like it's too loud, just lower it a tad bit. Just lower it. It's not that bad. Just lower it. It can be too low now. It can be too low. So you want to make sure you can hear it, but it's not overpowering your voice. Also, use music to your advantage. If you want to depict a certain emotion in a video or in a scene in a part of your video, add some music that's going to fit the atmosphere. If you're getting chased in Lego Fortnite by one of those giant monsters, add some fast-paced music. If someone kills your pet in Minecraft, add some sad music to set the atmosphere. You don't want to be playing some happy music in a sad part during a sad part of your video, especially if you're telling a story. You want the atmosphere to be set. Use music to your advantage. Tip number 2, cut out the boring parts of your video. In today's day and age where everyone's attention spans suck, you have to cut out the boring parts of your videos. If it's an idle part and it's, quiet, try to cut to the next exciting part. Use your audio waves to cut out bits and parts of the video. In this video, I let some of these moments sit because I wanted to convey a more emotional approach. This part was meant to be kind of silent and kind of empty and slower paced. But then, depending on the video you're making, all this is within context of the type of video you're making. Make sure you do not have some of these dry spaces. Again, unless you're trying to do what I've done and you're trying to convey a certain emotion, try your best to cut those parts out. So to do that, what you want to do, this is for Premiere users, Premiere Pro users, what you want to do is you want to hit C on your keyboard and you want to cut, see this, for example, if I wanted to cut this part out, I could go right here, cut that out, and then come right here and then highlight that, hit delete on my keyboard, and then click on the gap right here and then hit delete again. It'll move everything up and you will not have that space. That brings me to our next tip, pacing. We talked about it before, pacing. You want to make sure that your video flows. You want to make sure that your video is flowing at a pace where it doesn't get boring, it doesn't get redundant. And a good way to do that is a J-cut. Now, what is a J-cut, you may ask? Well, I'm going to show you an example. How are you guys doing today? Coming to college campuses, there are lots of things that are needed to be considered. Now, I recommend doing this and mixing it in with regular cut. I don't know if you caught that, but future me coming in here and realizing how bad of an explainer I am. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to probably make a short video explaining what a J-cut is. So basically, to explain myself just a tad bit better, if you did not notice it earlier in this video, this is a J-cut. So here it is. Here is an example of it, this video. But make sure that your video, it's very quick. But basically, so here are my 2 clips. Here are my 2 clips right here. The audio from this clip is right here and right here. The audio from this clip is right here. Basically, all I did was I took this audio and I moved it there. This is a pause. This is a pause from here. So I just cut this section out, and this is a natural pause that I took in the video. So rather than cutting that pause out over here, I just moved this up and cut this off, and then had rather than jumping to the next one like I had done right here, I played a little bit of the sound before, and here is an example in this video. But make sure that your video quality is up to par. Once you see, now that was a regular cut. I hope you guys can tell the difference. Now, like I said before, adding in J cuts along with regular cuts will make your video flow a lot better. It'll add some interesting parts to it, and it won't just be simple kind of flow, just like, you know, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. I can't think of the words, but you know what I'm trying to say.
You stupid.
Tip number 4, depending on what your video is, the nature of your video, the topic, whatever the case may be, you might want to add zooms and or subtitles. Now, I'm going to show you what zooms are. I'm sure you know what a zoom is, but for the people that don't know or want to learn how, here's going to be a quick little tutorial on how to do that. Now, if I want to zoom into Turtwig back here, what I can do is I can click on the clip, keyframe the scale and position. Again, this is just for Premiere users, but if any type of editing software should have this type of keyframe functionality. Go forward 5 frames, so your forward key 1 2 3 4 5. Go forward 5 frames, keyframe, and then zoom in. Obviously, we don't want it there, but we do want it to be on Turtwig, so we're gonna move it. Let me click right here, click on the scale, click on scale so you can manually move this, and it will be able to move. Now, obviously, you don't want that black bar there, so you want to kind of move it there. And if I wanted to zoom in a little bit more, because I feel like I'm not completely on Turtwig, so I'm gonna move it over there. And there we go. So this is what it would look like. Now, that's obviously a fast-paced one, but if you're trying to unzoom and you're trying to get back to where you were, you could just keyframe this, come back to the values that you were up here, 960, 540, and 100. So you want to come back here, and then go forward 3 frames, 5 frames, 960, 540, and then 100. So all in all, it should look like this. See, now that's a quick zoom in and a zoom out, and there you go. Now, subtitles are different. Subtitles, you might want to add subtitles to keep the viewer engaged. Again, when YouTube is in a state of where you want to keep viewer retention and watch time high, subtitles can help you with that. So here is just a simple example on how to add text in Premiere. So you might not want to have this font because that font is kind of boring. So what you want to do is you want to do hi. Oh, wait a second. Didn't mean to do that. All right, so what you want to do is you want to type like hi or something. Or all right, so I have that just so it's a bigger text. So click here and you can move this text. You can kind of center it. Make sure you do click that as well. So let me highlight this real quick. And you want to make sure that your orientation is in the middle. And then you want to try and center this the best that you can. And I know there's a way you can do it, but I'm just stupid and don't know things. Try to center that in the middle of the page. And then you can add a fill or you can add a stroke, and my stroke is gonna be black, and there you go. You don't have to add a super duper big stroke. If you want to, you can. And you can add a shadow so it differentiates itself from video, and there you go. So now to add subtitles, you might want to skip a little bit and add maybe 2 or 3 words and just go through your whole video and change out this. I mean, if you want to do some scaling, you can, but that is just a simple tutorial on how to use, or a simple way of adding text in your video. And tip number 5, last tip, best tip, export settings are important. Very important. And to get the best video quality possible, I recommend rendering in 1080p 60 frames per second at a minimum. Now, if you're a G like me, you're gonna upscale your videos, because that's what I do. I upscale my videos to 1440p or 2K 60 frames per second, because that unlocks the VP09 codec. And if you don't know about the VP09 codec, click on the video above and I go into full detail there. But VP09 codec gives you that clean, crispy quality that you want. And a lot of people don't know, but YouTube has a post processing once you upload your video. So your video could be crystal clear on your computer, but then you might upload it to YouTube and it might be a little blurry. So like I said, at a minimum, 1080p 60 frames per second and 1440p 60 frames per second would be what I do. So here is how to do it in Premiere. I come up here and I already have a preset saved, but if we click on that preset and we open up these video settings, see how I have the frame size in quad HD 2560 by 1440. Originally, what yours is probably gonna have match source in here, and my source is 1920 by 1080. Like I said, I record at 1920 by 1080, 60 frames per second. That would be the absolute minimum that I would render in. But as you can see, output 2560, 1440, 60 frames per second. I do have, again, I'm not going to go into full detail about this. I do have in that video that I shared earlier. You can go into full detail about all these video settings and everything that you need to do there. Do you guys want a bonus tip? I have a bonus tip. Make sure you're having fun when you're editing. Make sure that you are having fun. Try to have fun with it, because a lot of people think that editing, oh, that's the least favorite part. That's my favorite part. Well, because I'm an editor, yes. But that's where I feel like I can add personality to the video. I'm not really a funny guy. I'm not really a funny guy alone. I feel like I bounce off people better, and I'm solo dolo with these channels. So, you know, I go in post-production and add my little clips or add my little funny parts in there. And if you find your video funny, odds are other people will find your video funny. Don't try to be perfect. Don't overthink everything. And YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that. Learn something every single video and try to stack upon those videos. And eventually, when you've made a decent amount of videos, you have practiced at it so much that maybe you'll get that one viral video, and that's all you need. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and consider subscribing, because I'm going to be uploading general YouTube advice, general editing advice, editing tutorials, some entertaining editing videos, just like this one up here where I redesigned Ninja's logo, and some other things like that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.